to Stop Booking Around. I'm Jon Cronshaw.
And I'm Russ Evans.
We are here to embark on an experiment. Russ, you're an aspiring writer. You've been talking about writing a book for bloody years, so I want to get you to start writing this book. You've accepted my challenge to do this. We're going to make it public. We're going to make you accountable, and we're going to do this. We should start off by telling the listeners what you've done so far, what's been your path, and what has been your journey as a writer.
So, my writing journey so far has been a 10-year period of feeling like I've got a really good idea that I'd really like to write into a story. And occasionally, when the mood strikes me, making notes or thinking about it or doing a little bit of character development, but nothing actually practical or useful that would get me really that much closer to writing a book. I've had a couple of starts throughout the years, all which seem to have been in some way sabotaged by either myself or by just the fickle finger of fate. So here I am with an almost fully formed idea and world and set of characters in my head, yet nothing really to show for it.
Well, you have. You've got characters, you've got a world. You've told me about the idea, and it is a really good idea. I think that your issue is focus, motivation, and just having the kind of clarity, I suppose, to just keep on with this project and see it through to the end. It's hard to write a novel. The hardest bit is your first draft. And a lot of people don't get to that point. And I think what's really important for you in this process is going to be to get you to the end of a first draft, even if it's a load of shit, even if it's just the worst piece of crap. It's easier to work with something that's complete, that you've got to the end of, than to try and flail around abandoning projects and getting into bad habits where you start something, don't start something, give up on things. Like the worst thing you can do as a writer is abandon a project before you finished it because it's getting too hard.
I think my biggest problem was always one of, I think, a lot of people who want to be artistic or creative or any kind of project, which is, I just want to do it right first time. You know, like, I'm going to draw this drawing in one go without sketching or thinking about it, or, I'm going to write this several 100-page book with full of characters and arcs and interesting settings, but I'm just going to do it in one go. Yeah, I think I've fallen prey to that sort of fallacy.
It is a myth.
Yeah, completely.
This stuff doesn't come from nowhere. You know what I mean? It takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of graft. Writing, art, anything like that, if you're going to do it well, it's a craft that you have to work on. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't come from nothing. You've got the ideas. Getting the ideas is one of the hardest things. Getting a good idea and then developing it, that's the challenge, and then continuing with that. And I think you have identified something really important. An artist works from a sketch. You need to have a foundation. And I think that's one thing that I want to teach you to do with this process is you're not going to dive in straight away and write a novel. That's what's known in writing circles as pantsing. You're writing on the seat of your pants.
Yeah.
You've got no direction. You're almost writing it on the fly. Some people can do that and some people do it really well. A lot of people don't. So I'm going to teach you how to outline. I'm going to teach you how to get a grasp of your story before you sit down and write a word. I want you to know your characters' voices before you start writing. And I think if you've got that, if you know that it's working as a story before you write it, if you're hitting all the essential beats that you need for a story to work, I'll teach you about those. You'll be on a much better position than someone who's just thinking, right, I'm going to sit down, I'm going to write a novel. And it's hard, and that's what people do. People do sit down and think, I've read 1,000 books in my life, I can do that.
Well, that's certainly what I did at first.
Yeah, it's hard, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because you realise, actually, this is a lot more difficult than people think. Like, I've spoken to a lot of people over the years who, I've mentioned that I'm a writer, and, they'll go, oh, I've got an idea for a book. I want to write a book. And, you're one of those people. But, there's that kind of thing of having the idea and the story to, that's in your head, and then a really different thing to commit to writing it. Yeah. And if you do follow this through, then you're going to be doing it in a really public way, in a way that's accountable. And I'm hoping that extra motivation and the stuff that I'm going to kind of guide you through
I think so. Giving me more structure and, things like deadlines and expectation are important, especially to me, because I will idle my life away with 1,000 good ideas and then be at the end go like, oh, well, at least I had the ideas. But yes, this is what I want. This is what I need. This book has been sitting in my head for 10 years now, and I need to get it out so that I can put other things in there. And yes, you're the man to help me, John.
Excellent. Yeah, I mean, I've mentioned, mindset and kind of having the right focus and the right attitude is going to be really important in this. So I'm going to give you some homework for next week.
Okay.
There's a book I've sent you. It's on the way. It's called The War of Art by Stephen Pressfield. I want you to read this book, and then we'll talk about it next time.
Okay.
Does that sound good?
That sounds great.
Excellent. I want to thank you for listening. You can follow me on Twitter. It's at JL Cronshaw. You can find me online. It's joncronshaw.com. That's JONCRONSHAW. I'll put some links in the show notes, and I'll put the link to the Stephen Pressfield book so you can read along. So until next time, cheerio.